All right, Hare Krishna, dear devotees, good morning. Welcome for a continuous discussion on Bhaktiyaloka. So, just give me a second. Okay, today is 18th February 2025 and Tuesday, and we gathered here to continue our discussion on Bhaktiyaloka. Right, so before we do that, let's do our invocation prayer. Om Ajnanatinirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sva Parantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Parakamlam Sri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Sri Rupam Sagrajadam Shaha Gana Raghunathan Vidam Tam Sajivam Satvaita Savduta Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vidamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimadi Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasa Chedesatarine Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimadi Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Niti Namine Shri Varshabhanavi Devi Daitaye Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnanadaine Prabhave Namaha माधुर्योज्वल प्रेमाद्य श्री रूपनुग भक्ति श्री गौर करुणा शक्ति विग्रहाय नमस्ते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्री मूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपनुग विरुदापसिद्धांत द्वांतहारिणे नमो गौर किशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्य मूर्तये विप्रलंबर संबोधे पादं पूजयते नमः नमो भक्ति विनोदाय सच्चिदानंद नामिने गौर शक्ति स्वरूपाय रूपनुग वरायते गौर वीरभव भूमे स्तम निदस सज्जन प्रिया वैष्णव सर्वभौमा श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः च पतितनां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। ओम महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गरुत्से नमः। पंचतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूप स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्त शक्तिकं। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते ताप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुस्तुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवाचार्य गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमती जय पताक स्वामी नामिनी नामाचार्य पदाय नित्य कृपा प्रदाय गौर तथा समुदाय नगर ग्राम तारिणी हरि ओम तत्सत्। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। So Hare Krishna, dear devotees, how are you all doing? How's it so far? Any takeaway? Anything that you have achieved? How come also quiet today? Now, today we're going to continue our discussion on Jana Sanga. Okay. So I hope that you have the book handy with you and a paper and pen so that you can underline, you can take notes. Okay, so let's start our program. You all can see the screen. Oh, first of all, can you hear me?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, yeah, I can see the screen. Okay.
All right. Okay. Okay, so just let's do a short recap what we have read yesterday. I know that yesterday topic was quite heavy, but of course it has to be known. So because we have our goal to become a pure devotee of the Lord, you know, first of all, say like for instance, we want to become a millionaire. So what are the first things we need to do? We need to get into there's only two options. Either you go into business school and study the art of doing business, or become a mentee to a mentor and become an apprentice and work under a millionaire. You have to work under them. and learn all the skills. You learn all the skills and everything. After learning all the skills, that eventually once you're good, you're confident, then you can start your own. Similarly, the same thing we are doing. So in order that we have a goal of being a pure devotee of the Lord, and in order to become a pure devotee of the Lord, we have to get reference from a pure devotee himself. And somehow we are very fortunate because we are under this ISKCON banner, under this ISKCON movement. Prabhupada have created a movement all over the world, in every town and village. In every town and village, just name it. Say like for instance, in Para alone, in this state, we have ISKCON center in Ipoh. Then just around less than 30 kilometers, we have a ISKCON center in Sungai Siput. Then less than 100 kilometers, we have in Teluk Intan and Taiping. So everything is within that 100 kilometers radius, but nearest is, of course, Ipoh and all this. So when you talk about KL, when you talk about Seremban, Seremban, they have one, and now they got another one near Spring Hill. I heard the place was so good. And in Penang, it's even more wonderful. First, we have in Bukit Mertajam. In less than around 20 kilometers, we have Todu, the national headquarters. Then from Todu, then we go into Penang Island. There's many. Glugor, Botanical. Then also got a Namahat Center. Charanalakshmi Mataji is involved in that, one of the Namahat Center. What Namahat Center is that? Batu Fringi. Like that, we have centers all over, which is not very far. So Prabhupada, as I explained in verse 8, 9, 10 onwards, verse 8, 9, Prabhupada will keep explaining in this Upadesha Amrita, Nectar of Instruction, that the reason of creating this wonderful centers, started to create this ISKCON, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So he created the centers that everyone can take full advantage of that center. All right, can take a full advantage of devotee association and all these things, and whereby being a pure devotee is localized. All right, if you want to become a pure devotee of the Lord, the one and only place you can think of going to Mayapur or Vrindavan. Now Prabhupada brought Vrindavan with him, Mayapur with him, to every town and village. So it's also mentioned in Harinam's Chintamani, and also quoted many times by Prabhupada and also my spiritual master. And of course, all the acharyas, they said, whenever and wherever the place is, the holy name is chanted, that place becomes Vrindavan. So you can be sitting in the comfort of your home, in your couch. You just need to take your beads and put into your fingers, put into your hands, put into the bag, and start to hold the beads and simply start to chant Hare Krishna. That place becomes holy place. The place becomes Vrindavan. Because the holy name of Krishna, all that potential and all the positive potencies, the Krishna, the full bhakti potency is invested in the Harinam. Okay, invested in Harinam. So whenever we chant the Hare Krishna mantra, our environment will become purified. And I'll try to get you one reference which I've heard quite some time back. When a place that you chant, say when you're sitting and chanting, in 500 meters in circumference, 500 feet or 500 meters, I'm not sure, everything is purified. Can you imagine? That is how powerful is the mantra. Because that mantra, when you chant the Hare Krishna, it is not merely a vibrating of your tongue, but it is directly enacted from spiritual world. The word Hare Krishna, it is in spiritual world. When you can utter it, that means you are having the entire potency of spiritual world and everything in your tongue. Krishna dances on your tongue. So when you go on chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, you achieve the highest perfection. In order, if not, like just now we have, yesterday we have studied. All right. So what are the things that we have studied yesterday? I hope I have got the highlight. Yeah, highlighter all gone already. So first thing is preliminary desire for self-realization. This will bring to the stage of trying to associate with persons who are spiritually elevated. Then after that, it becomes initiated. Then after that, after under instruction, the deified devotee begin the process of devotional service, right? So like this, we go on. First is we start with Shraddha. Okay, Shraddha, faith. Then after that, Nistha, firm faith. Then after that, we go into Sadhu Sanga, devotee association. Like that, we move on the ladder. So what is the ultimate ladder? First, we start to have faith, a little faith. okay, that says that the little feet starts from some little kind of inquisitiveness. Example, when we are karmi, at first we are all started off as karmi. First vikarmi. Vikarmi means we think that everything we can do with our own effort. There's nothing, there's no need God, no need anything. Right? My effort is my God. So vikarmi. Then after that, we start to realize that my effort also doesn't work. Okay. We need to have some kind of divine interference, divine power. Then we become karmi. So that means we start to dedicate, we start to pray, we start to involve in this kind of ritual called karma kanda. Karma kanda means what? We do this prayer, special prayer for prosperity, special prayer, like we do this prayer for Lakshmi Puja. Every ladies like to do Lakshmi Puja in the house. They bring all that senior most among that clan, among that congregation. They all sing and start to sing Lakshmi mantra. Then they start to sing this. Then every Saturday, they like to go to Vishnu temple. Sometimes they take a pilgrimage to go to Tirupati temple, Venkatachalapati. And when it comes the month of Puratasi, they fast for 30 days. Okay, without, they for them fasting is those for meat eaters. To abstain from meat eating is fasting. But some devotees will fast maybe one meal a day. And every Saturday, they go into a, what they call, lavish kind of prayer, okay, to invoke the blessings of Lord Venkatachalapati and also Mother Mahalakshmi. So what happened? They know that they first vikarmi, they think they can do themselves. Then after that, they realize they can't do it themselves. Then they start to go into some divine. And fortunate people will go into to worship Lakshmi and Venkatachalapati. Lakshmi Narayana and Venkatachalapati, they start to worship them. So that means they come to the level of karma kanda. Okay, once they perfected the karma kanda, then they start to know, oh, I got all the money in the world. So now I don't have that kind of happiness. Right? And where did this happiness go? I thought at first the happiness is in money. But then I realized the happiness is not in money. I thought formerly I lived in a very poverty-stricken life. I upgrade myself. I went into, I'm living in a bungalow and I'm driving a big car. My wife has at least 100 pounds of gold. My children's education is secured. Everything is done, but still I'm not happy. Still there's something is lacking. And what is that lacking thing? I mean, is there something else? So they start to be inquiring. They start to inquire. That's when they go to Jnana Kanda. All right. Yesterday we studied that Jnana Kanda to acquire knowledge. So once they start to acquire knowledge, then they start to go into perfection in that knowledge. So what is Bhaktivinoda Thakur is Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur Pujapat is mentioning. So once you go from Karma Kanda, go to Jnana Kanda, give up Karma Kanda entirely. Don't stay here, don't stay there, because we are evolving. So once we go into university, we no need to take our standard 6 books and start to read. We don't usually go to primary school book or secondary school to start to read when you're doing your degree. Usually once you're there, you are there. You don't come back and don't even refer all these things. Similarly, once Karma Kanda is done, then you come to Jnana Kanda. So once you go to Jnana Kanda, you start to understand, hey, I'm not this body. No wonder lah. And everything around me is only temporary. Right? Because man can never be happy in temporary place. Yes or not? All right. Say like, for instance, when you live in your own house and living in a rental house, that's two different things. Okay, sometimes when you go out, we go and stay in a homestay. So even though the homestay can be very comfortable, but we won't be comfortable. We like to go there, stay 1-2 days and ciao. We want to get out from the place because that's not the place for us. But our real place is our own house. Similarly, we start to understand that we are not this body. We are very uncomfortable living in this place. And what is that uncomfortable? So once, okay, in order for us to realize that Krishna have created true Mahamaya, right, the illusory thing, he created the illusory things to convince us that everything seems to be so true and everything seems to be lasting. So where he's putting us in illusion. And what happened? And while we are in illusion, she also gives three mode of suffering. That is Adi Bhautika, Adi Sattvika, and all this. So first is the suffering that arises from our mind. Always we are under depression, under stress. We think that we have all the money, we have everything, but still there's something is not the thing. So stress, depression, and all this mental disease is becoming very normal now. All right. I'm so surprised to see even big doctors are all under this psychiatric review. Every doctors, most, not to say every, but mostly, they somehow or other they go for some kind of psychological and psychiatric review. Okay, that's why in Ipoh they isolated this hospital called Tanjung Rambutan, because they doesn't want that hospital to be with others. So it's totally isolated. So then after that, the second klesha that creates from the environment. Suddenly there's a hot sun, and suddenly there's things, suddenly there's a earthquake, volcano, and expected haze to come to Malaysia anytime soon. You know, when the wind start blowing this side, when they start to burn the whole thing's blanket with smoke. Can you imagine living in a smoke? They said every day that you consider your smoke at least 5 or 10 packets of cigarette, right? That much of pollution that is not within our control. And another kind of suffering is from other living entities, right? Like the viruses, like what we have recently experienced, coronavirus. It went and disabled the entire world. Okay, the whole world was on its knees, all as or fall on the knees. Okay, so the whole thing, the small tiny thing which can't be seen, which is a living entity, creation of Krishna, viruses, it create a huge impact. Many people died, and of course that all of you have seen and heard, or sometimes you have seen hearing from our loved ones, that people, those die of coronavirus, they die extremely miserable, the miserable death, right? Because I know one of my aunt, my distant relation, she got coronavirus and she died, and they couldn't get a place for cremate her. They put her in a container and left it there for 1 week, because all the crematorium is full, so they have to make an appointment for cremation. And that is why you can't do anything, just with the bag, just put everything, burn. There's no such rituals. Nobody can go near. Such a terrible thing, right? Then another kind of suffering is also from a fellow human being. That's why we are so afraid of fellow human being, right? We like to live in a gated and guarded community with all the CCTV camera, you know, road rage and all these things are happening. So there's 3 kinds of suffering. Then we start to understand, oh, no wonder. So now, what is the way of coming out from the suffering? All right. Then they start to take up, if they are fortunate enough, they start to take up Bhagavad Gita, they start to take up some of the Prabhupada's books, and they start read. Maybe they understand, don't understand. Then they say, okay, let me go and find out. Okay, the faith somehow or other says, yes, it sounds good, but how? Then they come to Sadhu Sanga. They come and associate with devotees. A devotee will given them the book. They say, can I know what is this? And through that, they think, then they start to realize I'm not this body. Then after that, they come to bhakti. So once we come to that level of bhakti and we start to perform devotional service, we give up all these things also. Karma kanda, jnana kanda, all we put it aside. We 100% concentrate in bhakti, because we are, through the jnana, we understand that we have been going through this life for millions and trillions of births, and now is the time to put a full stop to that. All right. So that's the thing. So niyamagraha. Here niyamagraha means niya agraha, niyama agraha. Then it's got another meaning, niyama agraha. So niyamagraha got 2 meaning. Depends on agraha, agraha. So that means it has 2 meaning, to accept or to reject. Okay, to simply take the rules and regulation and this thing. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur very nicely written, okay, the prescription and the prohibition. Always remember these 2 words. If you want to remember niyamagraha, just think about this thing. Prescription and prohibition. What is the prescription? Example, if I'm down with, say like for instance, diabetic. So my prescription drug, I have to take this kind of tablets, metformin and all these things I have to take. And what is that prohibition? I should not eat a lot. I shouldn't take a lot of carbo and not try to avoid sugar. So prescription and prohibition. And everything in life, there's a prescription and prohibition. Do's and don'ts. Right? But the word, why it's translated as prescription? Because prescription, it is something that you have to follow. When we use the word do's and don't, do's, I mean, you have a choice whether you want to do it or not. When I come to one place, they say do's and don'ts. So thorough lah, mafan lah. You know, I really cannot stay in this bed. I just go out. That's option. But prescription and prohibition means prescription. When the doctor give you a prescription, you have to take it. You cannot say whether the doctor is right, or you cannot be trying to act clever, says that this medicine doesn't work. Prescription, prescribed just for you. Okay, authentically for you, prescription. Then the prohibition. So when you want to take to this path, so remember that. So the prescription and prohibition, it is something that we have studied in detail yesterday. All right. So I hope that you can you could recall. All right. All right. Then So that means the learned transcendentalist dedicated to the cultivation of knowledge and thus detached from external object. All right. So that means it says here, a learned transcendentalist. That means once we start to, in Jana, we start to become perfect in Jana. So what they do, they will start to dedicated the cultivation of knowledge. Okay, they cultivate the knowledge and thus detached from external objects. They start to realize. And so my devotees who is detached even from the desire for liberation. Then we also start to realize, at first we thought going to heaven, but now heaven is not exciting at all. How about Vaikunda? Not even exciting. So we want to go to Goloka. And that also not important if you really go into that. So what happened? We just want to become a devotee and serve the Lord birth after birth, right? So that's a few of the things that we have went through yesterday. Okay, now we are coming to today's topic, Jana Sanga. Jana Sanga means that's a thing that the Prabhupada is keep explaining in his what they call Nectar of the instruction. Sorry, Nectar of instruction is keep explaining about Jana Sanga. All right, the association of devotee. All right, so he says no matter what, all right, we have to avoid these people who are worldly minded person. Okay, they call Jana Sanga. Also, the Jana Sanga is also can be understood in Tamil or Malayalam, all is Indian language. Jana means people. Sanga means association. Right? We have Vartagar Sangam, Anda Sangam, Inda Sangam. So Sanga. So in Sangam, in Tamil we call Sangam. All right. So it is Jana Sangam. Okay. So the word Jana refers to both male and female. So now Bhaktivinoda Thakura is explaining the word Jana means refer to both male and female. Okay, female human beings. So Srila Rupa Goswami has written in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Sado Sanga Svato Vare. A devotee should associate. All right. He mentioned that a devotee should only associate with devotees who are more advanced. A devotee should associate with devotees who are more advanced. It is, of course, your advantage. Huh? When you go and see someone, when you try to associate with a devotee who is more advanced than you, that's when you can learn. All right. But when you associate with devotee who are in the same rank with you, of course, for you, both of you are trial and error. So it's like that. So that's why I used to tell all these young devotees, especially, these boys like Vivan and Kesavan and all these things. I used to tell them, when I first joined, I had no one to guide me. Somehow or other, by trial and error, we came up. And somehow now they are very fortunate because now we have already passed through. So somehow or other, we come to the level of giving good advice. That time was like, because all of us in the same time, same rank, and we are somehow or other came in with trial and error. All right. So practicing devotee who are generally superior to karmis and jnanis in all respect. So that means the practicing devotee are superior. All right. Generally, they are superior. Okay, not really superior, but generally superior to karmis and jnanis. Because they also have passed through karma, they have to pass through jnana, and now they are in bhakti. So somehow or other, they are distinct. Okay. It's mentioned in Bhagavad Gita 7.28. In Bhagavad Gita, it mentioned, Yeshang Tvantagatam Papam Jananam Punya Karmanam Te Dvandva Moha Nirmukta Bhajante Mam Dhrida Vrata. Person who have acted piously in previous lives, that means who acted piously in previous lives, and in this life whose sinful action are completely eradicated, are freed from dualities of delusion. Okay, so that means those who have acted piously in previous life. So one thing that we can understand from Bhagavad Gita here, 7.28, we can understand it from here. That somehow or other, all of you are sitting here, you have done something great piety in your previous life. Without that, it is not possible. All right. So because that's what Krishna says, who acted piously in previous life, and in this life, whose sinful action are completely eradicated. Of course, when the sinful action is completely eradicated, freed from dualities of delusion. So that means here in this life, we are all trying to improve ourselves so that we can come out of this sinful reaction completely. Right? And freed from dualities. So once they come to that level, they are freed from dualities of delusion. They don't see, oh, rich and poor. Duality means two things, rich and poor, yin and yang. In Chinese, we call yin and yang. All right, man and women. So like that, all opposite, yin and yang. So there's a duality. So that means they will come out from this duality of delusion. So all these are illusion. And what they do? And they engage themselves in my service with determination. So that's when they become so determined in the service of the Lord. So therefore, the devotees are naturally pure. There is no possibility for them to commit sin. There's no possibility. They are not less intelligent like Karmi. Okay, they are not. So these are the people not less intelligent like the Karmis and Jnanis. Okay, Karmis and Jnanis, of course, the intelligent level is not yet fully developed. It's not to say they're not intelligent, but talking about spiritual intelligence, all right? Because they have taken shelter at the lotus feet of omniscient Supreme Lord. Faith in devotional service of Lord Krishna is achieved as a result of many lifetime of pious activity. Can you imagine this, my dear Prabhus and mothers? Please underline this word. Please write it somewhere, or please write it and paste it on your wall, or write it somewhere and keep it in your wallet, keep it in your breast pocket, keep it everywhere. Write it in a small piece of card. All right. So what it says here, faith in devotional service of Lord Krishna is achieved as a result of many lifetimes of pious activities. So you all did not come by chance, right? I also got the highlight. Okay. Okay. Faith in devotional service of the Lord is achieved as a result of many lifetime of pious activity. So in so many lifetime that you have done so much of pious activity, and because of that situation, now you have somehow or other, you start to have a little faith, or some of you have a strong faith, or some of you are developing your faith. But still, if you can do this, right, there is some kind of wonders should have happened from your previous birth. That means, in other words, you did not, I think you were, from this, what I can understand, that we were not came from an animal. We were not animal in our previous life, but we continuing our bhakti where we stopped in our previous life. So there is no doubt, okay, that the devotees' activities are pure. All right, there's no doubt when they see the devotees' activities are pure. From faith, okay, that means from faith, the desire to associate with devotees naturally arises. Right? So as I said just now, we start to have faith. From there, naturally, the association of devotees will arise. Because we want to see the devotee, we want to see, I want to tell me more, tell me more. Okay, tell me more. So, like for instance, okay, what can I give an example? Okay, like we talk about Rusan Chang Mataji. Whenever there's a Trivikram Prabhu, a Chinese body devotee, elderly devotee, very senior devotee in Malaysia, when he comes down to Ipoh, Rusan Chang Mataji always be with him the whole day. All right. And sometimes I also saw her that serving him, bring him food, bring him this. So that means she has not only associated with you, but he start to serve that devotee. And through that, so naturally, so that means what happened by associating with devotees? By associating with devotees, everything is achieved easily. All right. So Krishna, he comes in the form of a devotee. So when you start to associate with devotee, when you start to serve that devotee, looks like everything is achieved. The glories of Sadhu Sanga are mentioned in Adi Purana. Okay. Please highlight these words. Okay. The glories of Sadhu Sanga are mentioned in Adi Purana as follows. Okay. That is what? Ye me bhakta jana partha, na me bhaktascha te jana. Mat bhaktanam cha ye bhaktas, te me bhakta tama mata. O Partha, those who claim to be my devotees, are actually not my devotees. Look at that. We can say, hey, I'm a Krishna devotee. How by like, for instance, when you see some like North Indians, like North Indians, they used to say, oh, Krishna is naturally our God. Naturally, we have been worshipping Krishna since time immemorial. So all this. So what Krishna says here very clearly in Adi Purana is mentioned, not in any other Purana. It mentioned those who claim to be my devotee. That means when you claim yourself to be your devotee, they are actually not my devotee. You understand? Please highlight this sentence. Because we are on our way to become a pure devotee of the Lord, we should understand all this statement. Of course, we are learning all this not to show off to others. All right? Not to give some extraordinary class and get some good name and fame. But we are learning this Bhaktiyaloka just to intensify our faith. We want to intensify our faith. Once the faith is intensified, nothing can shake you any longer. So now we must understand. So where do you stand? Think for yourself. Look at yourself and say, where am I standing now? So am I a person who claimed to be Krishna's devotee? But Krishna says, no, you are not my devotee. Then he continues. He said, but those who are devotees of my devotees are actually my devotees. That means those who devotees of my devotees are actually my devotees. That's why we are all known as Prabhupada Nuga. So we are all the devotees of Srila Prabhupada. We worship Prabhupada. We worship our Guru Maharaj. So that means those who have not taken initiation, you should really consider yourself for an initiation. Initiation is only a starting point in your devotional life to initiate the program. So very simple process for regulative principle you have to follow and chant 16 rounds. So once you're initiated by the mercy of the Guru, from there you can grow and become a perfect devotee. And from there you can achieve that next level. All right. Interesting. So why? So once we become a devotee to our devotee of Krishna's devotee, means that means when we accept our Guru, we are devoted to our spiritual master. So like that. So this is those who actually claim to be my devotees are actually not my devotee, but those who are devotees of my devotee are actually my devotee. Mat Bhaktanam, Mat Bhaktanam, Mat means me. Bhaktanam, my devotee. Chaye Bhaktas, devotee of my devotee. Te me Bhakta Tamamata. But actually are my Te me Bhakta. That means me means me. Bhakta. They are Tamamata. They are actually my devotees. So regarding to need to associate with devotees, it is said, right? So now regarding to the associate with devotees, it is said, Darshana Sparshanalapa Sahavasadibi Shanat Bhakta Punanti Krishnasya Sakshat Api Cha Pukkasham. Pukkasham. Even an outcast. Now let's look at this. All right, it's mentioned where in Adi Purana. Please mark this word. So whenever you see haters of Sanatan Dharma, you can quote this. Darshana Sparshana Lappa Sahavasadibihi Shanat Bhakta Punanti Krishnasya Sakshat Apicha Pukkasham. So even an outcast becomes completely pure. Okay. Even the outcast. Who is that outcast? The people who born from a very low class family in that social hierarchy. All right. They born in a family where they like eat dogs, the family that eat beef. All right. All these people usually they have that tendency. They have no cleanliness in them. They used to drink. All right. Like in ancient time, who are the outcasts? The one who eat meat, the one who drinks alcohol, the one who gambles, and the one who have illicit sex. So these are the things which is called the outcast. But currently in this modern world, this kind of activity has become a standard activity. It looks like modernization. All right. Some people will claim themselves, I come from a very good family, but they eat meat. All right. I come from a very respectable family. We are all very high caste. We make sure that all our children are married to that same clan or same caste, but they drink alcohol during festival. They drink alcohol. Okay. And they gamble. Then they also have illicit sex and all these kind of things. So when we look at all these kind of things, how can we know that these people are this thing? So that means looks like in Kali Yuga, everybody is basically Shudra. All right. It doesn't matter from which clan you come from. You can be Chettiar, you can be Gounder, you can be whatever. Right? Whatever it is, we are all known as Shudra in Kali Yuga. Okay, I am mentioning this here. Of course, this thing I cannot mention in any other classes that I do, because here we are doing into a detailed studies. So now we have to take up things very serious. Right? Very serious. So that's why in our Vaishnava society, we do not see any caste system. There's no such thing as caste system in our Vaishnava society. Because in Vaishnava society, all of us are trying to purifying ourselves to become a devotee of the Lord. We are not interested to be a Brahmana. We are not interested to be a distinct. And sometimes I am, whatever background I come from, or whatever background people come from, we don't take that into consideration because we are spiritual movement and we are involved. We are only thing that I'm interested, that all the devotees are interested is in the spirit, because the spirit is pure. The spirit in the pig, the spirit in the dog, and the spirit in Chandala, and the spirit in Brahmana, all same. There's no difference. Yes or not? Is there any difference? We all have studied, right? We all have gone through Bhagavad Gita. The spirit in the fly that sits on the stool, the worm that you see inside the stool, you just dig, you see one worm or some ants, insects who enjoys the stool. The spirit in that, the spirit in dogs, the spirit in the pig that enjoys the stool, the spirit that the same spirit in the body of Chandala, okay, or what you call in our social disease, like the word P. There's a caste called P and also C. Of course, it's quite sensitive. So even from people from that, even in the spirit in the body of a Brahmana is all same. So we as a devotee, we want to see that spirit, the spirit in them. That's why we call spirituality. So many places in spirituality, like if you see, there's so many temples are caste temple. All right, like for instance, in my this thing is terrible. There's a Chettiar temple, like Chettiar temple and all these things. So when you see in Penang Island, there's two temples opposite. There's one place is called Natukota Chettiar, and it's called Ayuravesir Chettiar. Right, and I'm from that Ayuravesir Chettiar clan. Right, and they say, oh, we this thing, and they want to show their supremacy. They bring a silver chariot, and this will bring a golden chariot. Like this type of two chariot went out, golden and silver, to prove a point. But we are not interested in all that. A person can be a Chandala, can be Chakli, or whatever caste, or even barbarians, even cannibals. Right? As I remember, I told that story many times. In Finland or one other country, a girl came to be accepting initiation, but her family that she came from is the family that eat human being. They eat human, cannibal. Even that cannibal, whoever it is, they can become completely pure. They can become what? Completely pure. Okay, please highlight that word, completely pure. Okay, they can become completely pure just by seeing, touching, conversing with, living with Krishna's devotee for even a moment. Even a moment. All right? Completely pure. It's not mentioned in where? Okay? The thing is mentioned in this thing called Adi Purana. All right? Make sure that you have that reference. You please highlight this in your Adi Purana, in your book, so that in the future, you can keep it as a reference. All right? Okay. So, like that. Sorry. It's not in Adi Purana. Please forgive me. Oh, no. Correct. Adi Purana. Okay. Sorry?
Chaitanya Charitamrita.
It's also mentioned there, Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Yeah. Lavamatra Sadhusanga Sarva Siddhi Kaya.
I see. Nice. So it's also mentioned in Adi Purana. But now let's see what Srimad Bhagavatam is saying. All right. In Srimad Bhagavatam, all right, in 7:5, Canto 7, chapter 5, text 32 states, Naisham Matis Tavat Uru Kramangrim Sprishatyanartha Pagamo Yat Artha Mahiyasam Pado Rajo Bhishekam Niskinchananam Na Verniti Yavat. So now the word is Mahis, okay? Right. So let's see what is the translation here. Unless one smear upon the body. Right? Now, okay. Pada Raja Abhishegam. Mahisayam. Pada means lotus feet. Rajo Abhishegam. Abhishegam means washing. All right. So it says here, unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. All right. Okay. Dust of the lotus feet of the Vaishnava. completely free from material contamination. So that's why when we go to Vrindavan, we go to Mayapur, we are in Vaishnava Sanga. So that's why there you go there, you cannot do any kind of offenses, you cannot make any kind of criticism. And go there, don't go as a tourist, please. When you want to make a tour to Vrindavan, Mayapur, make sure you go there, stay there for 5 to 10 days. Right? At least the moment is very purifying. But go there, don't go as a tourist. Ah, nice. Wow, nice. Wow, 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 and come back. You go there, you have to go and associate with devotees, worship the devotees, right? Or worship the devotees is like, don't go and say that just in your heart. Oh, there's a pure devotee here. Oh, look at the child that born in Vrindavan. What boon that he has got, that he has born in Vrindavan. Okay, even when you see a dog in Vrindavan, oh my God, you know, being born as a dog is abominable. But you have done something great that you born in Vrindavan. You see a pig in Vrindavan. Even though you enjoy the stool, but you're enjoying the stools of the Vaishnava and you are living in Vrindavan. Everything has to be very respectful. At the same time, when you go, you know, when you go for parikram and all this, you just take the dust, you know, you just can simply touch the dust of Vrindavan because the dust is already been walked by all great devotees and all acharyas through that. Just take it and smear around your body. Right? That's one place, you know, they used to roll. Sadhguna Mataji is here. She just came back from Vrindavan. Oh, she's not here. Anyone of you have been to Vrindavan?
Yes, Prabhu.
Ah, Prabhu, you know that one place, you know, they roll on the ground. What place
Yeah,
is that?
very, very fine sand, Prabhu.
Very fine sand, yes.
Yeah.
So that's a place where Krishna walked, right?
Yeah, but it's in Mathura, Prabhu.
Oh, the fine sand is in Madura, is it?
Mathura. After the prison, after seeing the prison, you come to that area, Prabhu.
No.
Where Krishna was born, the prison.
Uh-huh.
And then you come to this, and then you go behind and see the Alamaram, both of them married. Krishna and Radharani were married, Prabhu.
I see. No, but the sand is in Madura.
It's in Mathura, according to my memory, Prabhu.
People used to roll on the ground, right?
Yeah, and they make a lot of noise also, Prabhu.
Of course, lah. The excited word. you know that place, the sand is quite unique. The sand
Very
is like
fine, very fine, Prabhu.
very fine, like a powder, right?
Yeah, gray powder, Prabhu.
You can put it in your mouth, it's just like dilute. You don't feel any sandy feeling. Even
Yeah.
you can take it put as tila kusua, you don't feel like any sandy. It's very fine powder type of sand.
Yeah.
Because running around that place and it doesn't want that Krishna's feet to be injured. You know, the sand was created that way. Anyway, so smear upon the bodies the dust of the lotus feet of Vaishnava, the person becomes completely freed from material contamination because this material is full of contamination. Right? And the person who are very much inclined towards materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of Krishna. Right? So when a person is very much inclined towards the materialistic way of life, they cannot be attached to the lotus feet of Krishna, who is glorified as his for his uncommon activities. Only by becoming Krishna conscious, all right, and only by being a Krishna conscious and taking shelter. That means by taking shelter, okay, only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord. In this way, one can be freed from material contamination. All right. So the scripture often states that without associating with the Lord's devotee, all right, scripture often says, that means the scripture is what? Often, it often states, it's keep repeating that without associating with the Lord's devotee, or Bhakti Devi does not manifest in one side. Can you imagine? Who is Bhakti Devi? Tulasi Maharani, the person who are in charge of giving you bhakti. All right. So if a person who do not associate with devotees, Bhakti Devi will never manifest in their heart. Sometimes we hear the devotees will become very upset, upset with another fellow devotee, and they decide, from now on, I'm not going to come to temple. I don't want to come to temple. I don't want to associate with anyone. But after that, you see, after some time, we've seen them, I'm not sure. I'm like myself, I don't see them advancing. I see them, they are more frustrated. I see them, they are more lonely. Because they say, oh, I want to come out from Krishna. You know, just imagine the thought that I don't want to go to temple anymore and I don't want to associate from a devotee, the thought that arises in your heart. You know, what does that mean? That means Bhakti Devi is rejecting you. Because by the mercy of Krishna and the devotees, you are here. But when you don't have the taste, you want to get out from this place, that means they are rejecting you. It is not that you are rejecting them. Please take that word. Please keep that in your mind. All right? Keep that. Meditate on that. When I say, oh, I cannot live with devotees anymore, I cannot tahan devotees, all right? I think all these fellows are hypocrite. No? I'm out of the temple. I'm not going to say. So that is a terrible false ego. So when a person that leaves the temple says, I'm not going to come to the temple, they are actually being rejected by the Lord. It is not that this thing. Because when you accept, why the people, even though got a lot of problem, they are sitting there, why they are there? Even the place is so terrible. Sometimes, say, example, I'm just giving an example. There's so much of issue, fighting, in issue and all this, but still people are sticking there. Why? Because they have already got the higher taste. They got a higher taste. Just like you are living in a huge, fantastic, you are living in a palace. You are living in a palace. But when you live in the palace, still the cockroach will come to your palace. But this will be rat will be running around. Still the mosquito will come and bite you. Right? So this kind of disturbance is just like seeing this kind of pest or be getting bitten by mosquito. Oh, I get bitten by mosquito. This house is no good. I want to go to other place. What happened? All right? It's absolute foolishness. So when we think that we're going to reject the devotees, we don't want to associate with devotees. I want to stay alone. I want to practice bhajan by myself. After some time, you can go and see their face. They are not happy at all. They look so frustrated. Then after that, what happened? After some time, without being invited, they will come. Right? Say like example, like Krishna Janmashtami. They come and sit down. And they start to see, wow, I have been missing all these things here. And like that, through the mercy of Krishna, some or other, you will gain back your taste. All right? But now all these things happen unknowingly. But now we have taken up this knowledge of Bhaktiyaloka. We must understand, no matter what. Okay? The devotees are favored by Krishna, whether you like it or not. This is not a democratic way of ruling. Whatever you like or don't like, the devotees are favored by Krishna. And Krishna warned, do not blaspheme them, even if they are fallen. Bhagavad Gita, Krishna said very indirectly, right? Even my devotee who is fallen, but still you must understand Partha, that is perfectly situated. Even the devotee is fallen because of imperfect senses. We all have imperfect senses. We have uncontrolled desire. The desire is like huge. You know, the desire. People, just for the sake of desire, they are migrating. Just for the desire, they're going to the moon and taking a big danger, taking a big risk. Because the desire is so powerful. There's no such thing can get rid of it. All right? Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transferred or manipulated. So we are manipulating and transferring our desire to spiritual desire. Okay. If you think you want to live in a huge house, Prabhupada have built a palace for all of us. You know, sometimes my wife and I will quarrel and say, like that. I say, don't worry. You know, I think you should take sannyas. You should go to the forest. My wife sometimes used to say that. And I say, don't worry. Prabhupada have built houses every place in the world. Imagine if I move out from Ipoh and I go to Todu. Don't you think there's a huge palace? Huh? If I don't want, I could go to Vrindavan, huge palace. There's a Mayapur, huge palace. What else you can ask for? Prabhupada built the palace for us. He built a house that every one of us could live in. You got it? So sometimes he's built a palace and houses for us to come in this thing. So we don't make that mistake. The devotees are no matter what, even they can be kanistha. That's why Rupa Goswami keep saying, you know, you spoke about the three kinds of devotees, kanistha, madhyama, and uttama. Even when you look at kanistha, you have to respect them mentally. You don't look at them. Oh, this fellow, this terrible fellow, man. See, a big thief has now become a devotee, man. Don't ever think all that. A greatest hypocrite now is a devotee. An actress who have been this thing, now she has become a devotee. Once upon a time, you should see a movie like Dashat, man. All these are dangerous thought and statement. So before you could think anything, offer your obeisances to them in your mind. Don't you think, see how nicely and scientifically is explained? Because when you see Kanista, of course, you start to see some fault, but you straight away offer your mind to them. Oh, how fortunate are you to become a devotee? Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Mataji, and just walk off. But when you see Uttama Madhyama Adhikari, straight away offer your obeisances. But when you see Uttama Adhikari, you just dedicate your life to him. That is how very nicely, scientifically explained. So we must remember this. We have taken a long way to be here. Not an easy path. All right? Just think about the death. How many kind of death available in this world? All right? We have seen beheading. The head got cut off. People died through beheading. Right? People are hanged upside down and skinned alive. The death of skinning alive. The death of getting burnt alive. Death by getting cooked alive. Right? Death by getting chopped alive. All these things we have gone through. All kind of suffering. Imagine when we born as a tree. People come and cut off one of our branch. Don't you think you don't have the pain? All right? The consciousness is there. The suffering is there. So suddenly you have nice tree and suddenly one fellow come and cut one of your branch. Cut. And the kind of some liquid comes out. And the thing is in pain. And they think and they just cut the thing and burn, make it into a fire. When we born as a fish, all right? So if we say like we born in this kind of crazy place, the fish, they want to eat it alive. They catch the fish, immediately cut open, take out everything, and while it's alive, hold the face, put one, what they call, glove, they take and only fry the body. And when they serve, the mouth up, but they eat, wow, so nice. Huh? But when we born as abalone and all this, like whatever, we like crab. They take the crab and straight throw into the hot pan. Oh my God. We have gone through all that. And we have born in every species that you can see around. Sometimes you see the species, oh, terrible. Like that day I shared in the group, in Gita Gyan group, the leech. The leech, how terrible. It doesn't have anything, only have two things here. I went in, because there's one leech neighbor house, I caught the floor, I magnify. I'm having a magnifying glass for that. I start to magnify, try to see things. Cannot see nothing. When the thing turned back, it just like one. Imagine a body without organs, no leg, no hand, no nothing. And what a terrible, abominable life. After passing through all these things, we have got a human body, we got that intelligence, and we are in bhakti. So please don't waste it. We have came a long way here. Nothing in these three worlds can discourage you from practicing bhakti. But Maya Devi will try her best to somehow or other lure you out. Okay? Just to test that whether you really have that strong faith or not. Right? Sometimes you have to make mistake. Sometimes for faith to become strong, when you want to have a strong faith, you have to have lots of heartbreak. Even in life, even when you want to be a sportsman, you want to be a gold medalist, in Olympic gold medal. The amount of pain, cry, sweat, tears that you have to go through. People say you can't do it. Then you go, then you fall down, you break your leg, and somehow or other you patch up your leg, then you do this. So much of suffering, your diet, 4 years suffering, so that you can go to the podium and win the race and get the gold medal. And the same thing here. So same thing when we want to achieve our greatest success in bhakti, we will go through that. You will be very successful, suddenly fall down. Suddenly a good standing devotee will fall down. Will fall down. So suddenly when a good devotee, suddenly they feel like having taste like ikan bilis, which is anchovy. People like yesterday, that's what devotee called me up, say, Prabhu, I still start to miss anchovy. What should I do? Like egg omelette. So these kind of things, they will keep coming. Some or other lure person out. So that's why devotee association is very important. And I'm very fortunate. Every day for 2 hours, I'm associating with all glorious people like you. That's the thing. Because I am also not a strong-minded person. And I was thinking, You know, when I can associate with devotees and do something like these programs, wonderful. Every day, Monday to Saturday, Friday. Right? Then Saturday, one day, this thing, then Sunday, continue. Then also now Saturday also we thought of having class, but Sunday, having this program. So every morning, fully engaged in Krishna consciousness. All right, it's very important. So please think about it. Never get upset with anyone and never give up. If you think that you're going to walk out from the temple, keep this in your mind. You are walking out not because of a false ego. You are walking out because you were rejected by Krishna. After you take the step out, immediately stop, think, oh my God, Krishna rejected me. Turn back, immediately go and fall at the lotus feet of Krishna and says, please don't kick me out from the temple. I want you. We want you so badly. I want you so badly, Krishna. Enough is enough. Then go to fall at the feet of Prabhupada, lotus feet of Srila Prabhupada. Dear Prabhupada, by reading your book, I'm here. Please do not reject me. Then go back to the devotee that you offend and straightway fall at the feet and says, forgive me, my dear devotee. Let them laugh at you. Let them do whatever. Don't think that you're triggered, your false ego is triggered. Just fall at the feet. My dear devotee, I've done such a great, grave offense. Kindly forgive me. And you know what? Something quite amazing. The devotees are usually, outwardly, they look like hard-hearted person, hard-hearted, you know, stone-hearted. But when this thing, they immediately melt and they will also fall down and they will hug and cry. I've seen that. There's no such thing that devotees can hold a grudge. No? Because when we come to the level of devotee, means we came after a long journey of purification. Even though we have a little anartha, but it doesn't last in our body. You can hate someone, but you cannot hate him long. So it's like that. So, because you must understand, without association of Lord's devotee, Bhakti Devi does not manifest. If once the Bhakti Devi is there and it lives, it is going to be the biggest loss in our life. It is most necessary for sadhakas. All right? For what? To associate with devotees. Bhaktivinoda Thakur is keep stressing the point. Associate with devotees. Because when you say devotees, all right, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur is not discriminating. Advanced devotee, new devotee, entry devotee. Even Lord Chaitanya also says that, you know, to Satyaraj Khan. He says, who is Vaishnava? Anyone chants the name of Hari is Vaishnava. So what they are trying to tell you, why did Lord Chaitanya didn't give any specific? Oh, the one Vaishnava is the one who wears all the tilak all around the body, who holds a kanti mala on his neck, who has a sikha at the back, who chants the holy. He didn't say that. He said, anyone who chants the name of Hari is Vaishnava. Why? Because when a person chants the name of Hari, somehow or other, the Bhakti Lata Bij is already sprout in his heart. After a couple of births, or another 2-3 births, after little purification, he continue. And eventually, after 10-15 births, he definitely become a pure devotee of the Lord, and that person will go back home, back to Godhead. All living entities in this entire material creation will go back home, back to Godhead. But depends who go first. So every one of us are going back home, back to Godhead in batches. Remember that. We are all going back home, back to Godhead in batches. So now is our batch, right? The next batch is getting ready. Maybe the next batch is now should be living in the body of a dog, right? We don't know. So after the dog body, the flood come up, then we say, no, so we are finishing our batch. No, maybe we are not the last batch. That means we are on the way. We are already queue up, right? Batch after batch, all going back home, back to Godhead for eternal service with the Lord. So do not offend anyone. All right. But you can receive. So now, devotee is very important. Therefore, in the context, the word Jana Sanga is understood to mean people who are devoid of devotion. Okay. So the word Jana Sanga, that what is referred here is the person who are devoid, who are not interested in devotional service. That's why Srila Rupa Goswami Path, right, has included the instruction to give up worldly association. Okay. As one of the limbs of the devotional service. So we have to give up the worldly association, maybe association with people who have not yet become a devotee. Give them up. Because both of you got nothing to talk. All right? It is just like a Japanese and a Tamil trying to converse. Both will be talking, but they just don't know anything. One fellow will be talking something, another fellow will be talking something. You see, so similarly, when we become a devotee, we do not want to associate with these worldly-minded people because you got nothing in common to talk. When you don't have anything in common to talk, what happened? They start to talk about some mundane things. Right? I want to talk about bhakti. You are talking about some world success. Or you talk about atheism. Right? So when you and I got nothing else to talk, then we talk about one thing. What? Let's look at the Malaysian politics. You think this is good? That is, you and I can talk. Or look at the American politics, the Trump, crazy, you know. So that means when we start to do something, when we try to something common, we try to talk nonsense. And that nonsense talk is vacho vega, the urge of speech. Right? All right. So this thing. So in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1-43, which I can't wait to start the class, right? First wave. One means first wave, not first canto, first chapter. They got 4 waves, 4 ocean, sorry, 4 ocean. Northern Ocean, Western Ocean, Southern Ocean, and Eastern Ocean. All right. So it's the first ocean, second wave. Chapter 2, text 43 stated, Sanga Tyago. Tyago means what? Sacrifice. Sanga, sacrificing association of Vidurena Bhagavat Vimuktai Janahi. One who desire to attain devotion to Krishna should carefully give up. Not simply give up, carefully give up. That means you have to give up in such a way that they will never come and talk to you anymore. What is the best way? Usually I do, I'll take my chanting bags, right? Whenever I associate with my cousins, you know, they say, hey, come, let's go out, you know, let's. I say, where you want to go? Go here, go to the restaurant. I say, no, you want, we go to the park. Other place, I'm not coming. Hiya, these flu, what does it become Samia ready? Nonsense. Let's go to the park. So once go to the park, I'll be holding my beads. Right? So, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Say, what are you doing? Like, give up. I say, no, I just holding only, just talk. So when they start to talk nonsense, I'll be looking somewhere and just eventually they get fed up with me and say, you better get out. We don't want you anymore. So that is one way of doing that. That means we have to carefully give up. Right? Don't whimsically, carefully give up the association of worldly people. That means the devotee should not engage in activities mentioned in the 4th verse of Upadeshamrita. The worldly people. The 4th verse of Upadeshamrita, the Nectar of Instruction, the 4th verse we should avoid. What is the 4th verse? Right? Let's look at the 4th verse here. All right. It says, Dadati pratignati guhyam akyati prachati bhungte bojayate chaiva sadvidam priti lakshanam. Right? So that's the 4th verse. So mention that we should avoid all these kind of people. Activities like talking with worldly people. So what is that? What is the activity? Activities like talking with worldly people in the course of one's work are not considered association. Okay. So that means, so now the example is, while activities like talking with worldly people in the course of one's work, right? Say like, for instance, you are working, right? You are working, you have to talk to your fellow colleagues. You have to talk to your fellow boss and all this. You go for meeting, presentation. All these are not considered association. It's your job. It's official. All right. Association means unofficial. All right. But when the same activity are done with affection for some, oh, look at that word, Bhaktivinoda Thakura ki jai. That means the same activity, but you done with what? With affection. Affection for someone, then one is considered to be associating with a person. Wow. Can you see this word? Right? So when the thing is done with affection, then it's considered to be associating with that person. All right. So you all understand what I'm saying? All right. So when we talk about association with person, so that's the thing. So do you all understand what I say? Thumbs up. If you don't understand, you ask me a question.
Prabhu, associating with love. Love for whom, Prabhu?
No, say like, for instance, when you are involved in association, like say like, for instance, like you are doing out of official job. That means, say like, for instance, now, okay, you are running a clinic, you got your nurses, you got your patients, you got another fellow doctors. All these are official association. Okay, Prabhu?
Yeah.
So that is not considered association. That's not considered. Okay? But at
So it's
night,
not considered what? Association?
not association. No, not association. Do you got it, Prabhu?
But here it says association with love. With love.
I'm coming there.
Yeah.
I'm coming there. So first is when we in our job, our duty, when we talk to, we got a colleagues that we are talking to our fellow colleagues, fellow doctors and all these are considered not association.
Okay.
But after that, you come back and you go and join the doctor's club, right? The doctor's club. So once you go to the doctor's club, what happened? You start to have some kind of affection because you're no longer what? Official.
Okay.
Once you go to that club with a medical club, so what do? You talk more detail, more deeply, and you don't talk anything about medicine. You talk about something else, you'll be laughing, playing dart, right? Yes or not?
Yeah.
So that is association with affection. Affection, not love, affection.
Okay.
So that when we associate with affection, it's considered association.
Okay.
Which Swami says, don't do that.
Thank you.
Okay, Prabhu?
Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, I saw a few people have a thumbs up that you understand. Okay, now it's 10:07. Shall we take a short break? 3 minutes, right? 3 minutes. Stretch your hand, stretch your leg, and come back. It's going to be a very interesting topic. Hare Krishna. Okay, continue our discussion. So, as what it says, activity like talking to worldly people or colleagues or like that is not for the sake of duty, job. It's not considered association, but when the same activity done with affection for someone is considered to be associating with that person. Every practicing devotee, Bhaktivinoda Thakur continues, should know the various kinds of worldly people. Should know. I mean, they should know the various kinds of worldly people. What are the types of worldly people that a practicing devotee should know? Number one, therefore, we hereby most unwillingly enumerating these people. So we try our best to avoid them. So these worldly people are of 7 types. 7 kinds, right? So there are 7 kinds of worldly people that Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning that we should be very careful and if possible, try to avoid their association. Avoid their association. Number one is Mayavadi or atheist. Okay, we don't want to associate with Mayavadis and atheists because you are draining your energy talking to them, or you will become lethargic listening to their criticism. Krishna is this, Krishna is that. Are you sure you're doing the right thing? All these kind of things they'll be talking and will somehow or other will pull you down. Okay, that number one. Number 2, among the second thing he mentioned is sense enjoyers. All right, let's go here, have fun. Sometimes when a relative come to your house, or what is the best thing in Ipoh? Or let's go to the waterfalls. Let's go to this theme park. Let's do this. We try to avoid. Number 3 is those who fond of sense enjoyers. Right? Those sense enjoyers and those who fond to the sense enjoyers. Right? They like to go and see the people who are enjoying themselves. All right? And number 4 is women. Oh my God, what is that? Women means. All right? So associating with women. Associating with women means other than your official duty, then your wife and your children, your sisters, other than that, we must try to avoid associating with women because no matter what, somehow or other, the man will get attracted to women. All right. We are not talking about every woman in particular. We are talking about other than your wife, your daughters, your sisters, or whatever, your aunties and aunts and all these, your cousins and everything. But try to avoid associating with this thing because the way that women speaks somehow or other attracts the men. How many of you agree to my statement? Be very honest, especially the men. Thumbs up. Charna Lakshmi, you can answer that, Bhattaji.
Yes, I agree, Prabhu. 100%.
You agree? How come you can be agree? You are a woman. Who's the person? Okay, thumbs up. All right. All right. Any other men? All the other men don't agree with me, is it? Who's the another man agrees? Another thumbs up is from? Oh, Chong Prabhu. Somehow or other. Okay, who's another one? Okay, Vaishnava Kripa Prabhu. Yes. We will get attracted, I'm telling you. Sometimes associating with women means, okay, like example, like, okay, you go and meet your friend, all right? Then you associate. then some or other they'll be talk. The way they, officially when people are talk to you, they talk very lovingly, their eye movement, the gesture, the voice. Okay, well, some or other, a man can get attracted. Even they can be how old he is, right? There's a story about this Aurangzeb or some kind of a Muslim king in India. Okay, a Muslim Aurangzeb. I forgot the name. A great philosopher, man came, says, what is the world's biggest attraction? He said, attraction to the woman. I say, how is that so? Until the man about to die, he still have that attraction to women. All right? He say, how is that possible? I say, I prove to you. There's one person is about to die, a big time imam, all right? A big time some saint in Islam. He's going to die. Let's go and check him out. But when he come, bring along your prince, your young beautiful princess. Bring her along, right? So when the king and the philosopher and along with the princess went to visit him. So when he opens the eyes, before he could see the king and also the philosopher, he looked at the princess. My God, wow, pretty girl, and died. Then the king says, yes, attraction to women, it is something that is very hard to give up. Right? So we have to be very careful. Number 5 is womenizers. The men who are very low character type of people. Right? They are womenizers. They some or other have got some kind of sweet talk. They can simply attract ladies to their life. So these are the people or playboys we avoid. Number 6 is the hypocritical devote, right? Devote, right? Hypocritically devote. Okay, let me see the word. How I can say it in English here. EEVOUT. Generally means deep committed to the cause belief. All right. Okay. So devote. That means hypocritically devoted. That means the hypocritically devote. Okay, the word devote means here generally means being deeply committed to a cause, belief, or religion. It is often used to describe individuals who are very dedicated and sincere in their practice and belief. So sometimes we can see the person can be very sincerely look like a great devotee, or even like some bogus gurus, you know that from other distinct. Then even sometimes you see some pastors, the cardinals. So they all can be look so devout, but they are hypocrites. They are hypocrite. All right. So these kind of people we have to avoid because they are going to make you frustrated actually. And number 7 is ill-behaved, foolish outcasts. Ill-behaved. So ill-behaved means the one who doesn't know how to behave properly, who are foolish outcasts. So not to say outcast people, but the one who ill-behave and foolish. These are the people we should avoid association, right? So now, the Mayavadi does not accept eternal name form. Okay, now here is mentioning the Mayavadis do not accept the eternal name, do not accept eternal name, form, qualities, and pastime of the Supreme Personality. They consider the living entity is a product of Maya. Therefore, in their opinion, the living entity has no eternal existence. They do not consider devotional service eternal. Rather, they consider it temporary method of cultivate knowledge. They find that all the devotion is only temporary. All the Mayavadi conclusion are opposed to the principle of devotional service. So don't associate with them. Therefore, by associating with Mayavadis, what happens if you associate with Mayavadis? Once devotion will gradually disappear. You start to see, your devotion start to disappear. Sri Swarupa Damodara gave a following instruction in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya Leela, chapter 2, text 94 and 95. Right? So what it says? Buddhi brasta haila tomara gopalera sange mayavada shunibare upajila range Vaishnava hana yebo shoriraka bhashya sune sevya sevaka bhavachari apanare ishvara mane. You have lost your intelligence in association of Gopal, and therefore you are eager to hear. You have lost your intelligence in the association of Gopal, therefore you are eager to hear the Mayavadi philosophy. Right? You have lost your association. Okay, that's why you want to listen to Mayavadi. When Vaishnava listens to Sharirika Bhashya of Mayavadi commentary upon the Vedanta Sutra, he gives up Krishna conscious attitude And Lord is the master of the all living entities, and he's a servant, okay, and living entity as his servant. Okay, we give up all these things. Instead, he considers himself to be the Supreme Lord. Because Swarup Damodar, I think he's the one formerly a Mayavadi sannyasi who surrendered to Krishna. Okay, so now, so he said that if you're going to read that, your bhakti is gone. All right, they do not accept Supreme Lord who is glorified by the Vedas. Okay, Vedas are called Nastikas. Okay, in Tamil also we use the word Nastika, right? Nastigan. Okay, Nastika or atheist. Their mind have been polluted by false argument. Okay, therefore one's devotion is lost in their association. And association with sense enjoyer is harmful. Now the second thing is association with sense enjoyment is even harmful. Those who are always busy associated with sense enjoyment are filled with blasphemy, envy, and violence. Right? Those who want to enjoy with sense enjoyers, because their sense enjoyment means always there'll be a blasphemy, there'll be envy, and also there'll be violence. Quarrel, argument, and hankering for sense enjoyment is their life. That means quarrel, argument, and hankering for sense enjoyment is their life. The more they enjoy, the more their thirst for sense enjoyment increases. Right? The sense enjoyers do not get time to speak or hear topics of Krishna. Whether they engage in pious activities or sinful activities, the sense enjoyers always remain in the knowledge of self, right? Of the self. Okay, they always remain in the knowledge, and me, right? I can do it. No, I this thing. Therefore, Chaitanya Charitamrita Antya Leela, chapter 6, text 278, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami has said, Vishayira Anna Kaila Malina Hoi Mono, Molina Mono Hoile, Nahe Krishnera Smarana. It says, one who eats food offered by materialistic men. Okay, now let's look at this. When one eats the food offered by a materialistic man, one's mind becomes contaminated. When the mind is contaminated, one is unable to think of Krishna properly. We have to be careful, right? When the food offered by materialistic, because we must understand, when someone cooks, their consciousness is there. That's why we always discourage from eating outside. We cannot say, oh, there's a Buddhist restaurant, we can go and eat there, right? There's a vegetarian restaurant. Always try your best. If you don't have a choice, then of course you can't do anything. At least that, then nothing. But what you do, always the best thing is to cook and eat yourself. All right? Just to have home cooked food is the best. The best food is mother's cooking, because the mother's cooking is number one, because she cooks with a lot of affection. Second, cooking is by the wife, right? Third, the best of all that is cook yourself. Of course, like I myself also don't know how to cook. So, but whatever it is, we have to be very careful, because the contamination mind means what? Our mind is just like a pond, and it became clear. When we start to do this, we are digging all that sediment at the bottom. The whole pond becomes muddy, and it's going to take a long process to purify the thing again. So not worth it, right? So those persons who externally engage in sensual activities and accept sense object just to maintain the body and soul together, are internally engaged in the constant pursuit and servant of Krishna, are not counted. Okay, now Bhaktivinoda Thakur is mentioning here. But those persons who externally engage in sensual activities, externally looks like he's engaging in all these kind of activities, and accepts sense object just to maintain body and soul together. Okay, you're involved in a job or in any kind of business, it's essential, but of course you just need to do that to maintain the body and soul together. But inside, internally engage in their constitutional position as servant of Krishna. I mean, internally they engage in service, are not counted among the sense enjoyers who are attached to the fruit. That means these sense enjoyers means what? The understand the sense enjoyer means they are attached to the fruits. But the devotees will sacrifice the fruit, will offer the fruits, right? So that's a two different things. The sense enjoyers and person fond of sense enjoyers are both worldly minded. Person who are fond of sense enjoyers are themselves also sense enjoyers, because they think of sense enjoyment within their heart. Okay, I mean the people compared to a devotee, the sense enjoyers, they only always think of sense enjoyment within their heart. Okay, now comes a long holiday. Let's see what we can do. Oh, then just call up some friends. Hey, shall we all go somewhere? Shall we go to the Maldives? Shall we go to the beach? Let's have a get together. So that means they are always meditating on that. That's called sense enjoyers. There are some people who are not themselves sense enjoyers, but they take pleasure in associating. Okay, now Bhaktivinoda Thakura also mentioning this. There are some people who are not themselves sense enjoyers. They don't enjoy themselves. They don't not the sense enjoyer. But what they do, they take pleasure in associating with sense enjoyers. Right? Like some people are not sense enjoyers, they don't want, but they like to take pleasure talking to them. Oh, like for instance, I cannot do rock climbing. Of course, okay, I'm old and fat. I cannot do rock climbing. But I couldn't join, but I like the rock climbing. But I'm going to associate with the rock climber. How do you do all of that? Like sometimes like people watching football, they know they can't even kick the ball properly, but they are supporting all these teams. Arsenal, Blackburn. Oh, I'm a great supporter, wearing the thing, singing song. You never walk alone and all these kind of nonsense things, right? So all these kind of football fan. So what they do, they cannot do that, but they take pleasure associating with them. So they go and join that MU club, Liverpool club, this club, that club. And they go there, and the way they talk, oh my God. Any of you are football craze people here? Anyone loves football? Put a thumbs up. Any football craze? Oh, thank God, no one. My father was such a person. When my brother-in-law comes back and they can sit and talk for hours, what this flow kick, and the flow, the red card was wrong. And I was just sitting and wondering, 22 fools running after a ball and thousands of fools around cheering. And there'll be 2 fools trying to stop the ball. And another one fool in black try to make sure that ball is played properly. What a game. And people are dedicating their life and grace. They put, their logo. You never walk alone. You never do this, you never do that, so all kind of things. Madness. So these kind of things. So that means what they do, they go and join them to have fun. Right? Their association should also be renounced. These kind of association also to be given up, because they will soon become sense enjoyers and bad association themselves. They somehow or other will get into that. There are 2 types of sense enjoyers: those who are extremely attached to sense enjoyment, and devotees who are attached to sense enjoyment. Okay, there are 2 kinds of sense enjoyers. One is those who are extremely attached. Another one, the devotees who are attached to sense enjoyment. So associating with those who are extremely attached should be totally rejected. Associating with those who are extremely attached. Those who are extremely attached should be totally rejected. But the devotees who are attached to sense enjoyment are also of 2 types. Even the devotees who are associated with them also got 2 types. One is, those who have included in the Lord as part of their sense enjoyment. Okay? And those who have kept the Lord in the center of their sense enjoyment. Right? So there's a 2 types. One is included the Lord as part of their sense enjoyment. Okay, it is quite typical, especially, all right, in my family. So whenever they want to do a business, every year, they will take the Lord as their partner. All right? There will be some people take Lord Murugan, and now, of course, most of them will take Lord Vengadachalapati. Okay, Tirupati. They'll make them. I say, now, in this business partnership, you are my partner. Okay, you are my partner. Okay, they include the Lord. Okay, whenever I get whatever profit, you can take 10%. Then after that, they tell the Lord, hey, Lord, look here, you are my partner, make sure business is good. So these guys, so they include. But for some, the second type of devotee, they kept the Lord in the center. I want to enjoy all this, but I will offer it to you first. I will never enjoy any of these things without your consent, without your knowledge, without offering to you. Right? So like that. So association with later type of devotee is preferable association. So when you talk about this kind of devotee, the one that always offer everything, their sense enjoyment to Krishna and enjoy, these are the preferable association. Compare with their former. So that means those who make Krishna part of their this thing, it is not advisable. You all get it? Although those who engage in sense enjoyment according to the religious codes are better than sinful enjoyers. But now after that, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is telling, but comparatively, those who enjoy religiously, it is better than those who do not follow that. Karmi and Vikarmi. All right, Vikarmi, they don't care. But Karmi, they enjoy according to the religious principle. Still better. Still, the practicing devotee, but whatever said and done, okay, whatever said and done, the practicing devotee should not associate with them until they become devotee. Until they become a devotee, try not to associate with them. Simply by wearing the dress of a renunciate. Okay, now, and I think the hypocritical devote, right? So simply by wearing the dress of a renunciate, one does not become a devotee, free from sense gratification, right? When a person wears saffron or looks like a sadhu, it's not necessary that the person has become free from sense gratification, because sometimes renunciate often collect and save object for sense enjoyment. They also collect money, and they also like to have the latest iPhone or latest thing. Okay, all these are this thing. Okay. On the other hand, many person resemble sense enjoyers by utilizing everything in the word. Okay. In other hand, many person resembles sense enjoyers. But in other words, there's so many people also can look like a sense enjoyer, but they utilize everything in the worship of the Lord in the mode of detachment. All right, this is called as Yukta Vairagya. Yukta Vairagya means when someone come and offer me a latest Apple computer, I will accept it, right? Not for my enjoyment, so that I can utilize for the service of Krishna. When someone come and give me a car, right? Someone say, hey, Prabhu, why not? I got one extra car, I give it to you. So that car, I won't use it to take my family go for sightseeing. I'll utilize it for Harinam Sankirtan, taking the devotee, fetching them. So like that, we accept the thing. We also look like a sense enjoyer, right? We also look, sometimes when you give you a Mercedes Benz, you get into the car, wow, even no matter what feeling will come. But you take the car and go and fetch the devotees, you do this, do that for the service of the Lord. Looks like sense enjoyers, but they are detached, right? There's one person devotee. He was offered, a devotee came and said, you're using your old Kalisa. Looks like your Kalisa is not in a good condition. He said, no, Prabhu, I'm very happy with this. Then suddenly he went to the Toyota and bought for him Veloz or Rush or something like that. This was brand new car. When he brought the car to him, he said, please accept this car. And what he did, he accepted the car. He accepted the car, right? He accepted the car. After he left, he called another devotee. He said, your Kalisa's very bad condition. Yes, Prabhu, okay. You take this Veloz, give that Kalisa back to me. Like that, So he accepted. Right? Okay, I'll give you one. My real life experience when I was young, around early 20s, right? Around 25 years ago. There's one brahmachari. A devotee came and gave him a Scheffer pen. Right? A Scheffer pen. Very expensive pen. Gave him as a gift. And he accepted it. Then while he was talking, then I was a salesman that time. I was selling insurance and everything. And we always have to have a pen. A salesman without a pen is a dead man. That's a term. So I kept a pen. And what pen I use? I use Reynolds. I believe that all old people should understand Reynolds, right? The blue color sharp and the white color thing. Just open and write. Reynolds pen. I was having a Reynolds on my pocket. It's only, 50 cents that time. So when that devotee saw, he looked at me, nice pen. I said, nice pen? He just take out the pen from my pocket and he put the Scheffer on my pocket. I said, Prabhu, please wait. No, I don't need all these kind of fancy pens. So looks like that, but they're utilizing for Krishna service. Example, right? They're always in the mode of detachment. So considering all these, the practicing devotee should give up the association of sense enjoyers and those fond of them of engaging in devotional service in the secluded place, right? Or fond to them and engage in devotional service in secluded place, and if he's fortunate in the association of genuine distinct. And if he's fortunate in the association of genuine devotees, right? So that means, in other words, consider all these, the practicing devotee should give up the association of non-devotees, the sense enjoyers, And at the same time, those who fond of them. That means they love to talk to them. That means not sensory, but like the people of footballers, the fan will join them, right? The fond of associate with them. All right. So them and engage in devotional service in a secluded place. So of course, we are not going to a secluded place. We are engaging devotional service in the association of devotees, right? And he's considered the fortunate in the association of genuine devotees. Once he get a genuine devotee association, is considered very fortunate. Now, another thing is, another topic. Do not associate with women. On the other hand, when a woman engaged in sadhana bhakti, all right, now another thing, when a woman engaged in sadhana bhakti, she should not associate with men. All right. Also, she should not associate with men. All right. This is for the Matajis. All right. When they engage in sadhana bhakti, when they engage in temple devotional service and everything, she also should not associate with men. Okay. Associating with opposite sex is very inauspicious for the advancing devotees. Okay. So associating with the opposite sex is also not very auspicious, right? There are two types of men. Okay, now Bhaktivinoda Thakura, there are two types of men and women, right? When a man and women are married, right? When they are married according to the religious principles, there is no sin in their touching and talking to each other, right? So when there's no sin, when the person is married, okay, there's no sin in their touching and talking to each other. Rather, this touching and talking is beneficial because of the spiritual sanction, because they got a scriptural sanction. Okay, because they got the sanction, right? They've been approved to do that. There is, however, no provision, right? No provision, okay, for illusory activities other than execution or reciprocal duty. All right. Okay, this is, let me just remove this. Okay. So that means there is, however, no provision for illusory activities other than this execution of reciprocal duty. What reciprocal duty means? The relationship between the husband and wife is called reciprocal. Other than that, there's no other provision. If they are illusioned by each other and they engage in activities other than prescribed duty, then it's called Stri Sanga or Purusha Sanga, or associated with the opposite sex, right? Okay. For those who are engaged in worshipping, now, for those who are engaged in worshipping Krishna, such association yields inauspicious results. Because, see, no matter what, all right, as I say, the man will be attracted to women and the women will be attracted to men. It is biological. It is natural. It is not something that we can pretend, right? So what they say, the women stays in their Sangha, the man stays in the Sangha, right? And of course, touching and talking is only meant for a husband and wife, which is married, who are married. Other than that, it is not advised, because this is called as Stri Sangha or Purusha Sangha, or association, okay, or association with the opposite sex, all right? Because those who are doing this, they don't have such association yields inauspicious results. That's why when you see in Krishna consciousness, they don't hug. Right? The Matajis will hug among Matajis, the Prabhus will hug among Prabhus. Right? Like in a common sense, in a common way of life, right? Whenever we see a long lost friend, family friend, they love to hug each other. Okay, man will hug a wife, the man will hug. So it's quite normal. Hey, I don't see you do the good hug, best friend's wife, hug, and all this. But of course, when you see in devotional service, they don't do that. They always say Hare Krishna. All right, or they do Vancha Kalpa. That's it. They don't go and hug and touch. Okay. And the best thing is, even in European devotees, are the same thing. The ladies will never go and hug their long lost friend who is a male. Okay, it's quite common, right? Because this is not good. In either one of these guilty of such association, then it can become an obstacle for other party. Okay. If the wife is helpful in the discharge of devotional service, all right, now, okay. So now you understand that. Huh? Now let's come to the next one. If the wife, now talk about the wife who are devotee, right? Helpful in the discharge of devotional service, then the fault of Stri Sangha does not arise. if the wife is helpful in the discharge of devotional service. All right, now the thing is sometimes which is quite common here and also very common in China. Okay, because I also used to address China devotees. The problem is the level of the divorce level is quite very high, very alarming. Because the husband is one, the wife is the husband, the wife, the ladies who usually get attracted to Krishna conscious, they become a devotee and some or other they divorce. Right? And similarly, when the man becomes devotee, when the wife doesn't listen, some or other it get heated up and end up in divorce. So we must understand one thing, especially because now we are thinking of being a pure devotee, we are becoming very mature. That's why we are studying this Bhaktiyaloka. Always keep that in your mind. Don't think like an ordinary person. You are not ordinary. You are all extraordinary devotees. If not, we will never discuss this. You will be never attracted to this, right? So we as a devotee who are on the way, when we have the goal of advancing, we are considered we are very lucky, yes or not? We are considered very fortunate that we are here. So, so that means what we do, right? So once we become fortunate, then we would like to share the fortune with others, correct? It was said very nicely by Rusan Chang Mataji. She said it very nicely. You know, when I took the video about her testimony, I say, how do you feel? I'm here to share the bliss. You know, if you can't recall, go back to the video, right? The video of testimony. I say, how do you feel? I'm feeling happy. Oh, do you feel scared? I asked the question. I said, no, I'm feeling happy and I'm sharing the bliss. So what does that mean? That is the nature of a good devotee, good standing, practicing devotees. That means you want to share the bliss. But we must remember one thing. From before we could go around sharing the bliss, of course, when you get opportunity, we do that. At the same time, we also should share the same bliss to our family members, right? Especially to the spouse, all right? So if your spouse is not a devotee, we should tactfully handle them, that eventually we make them a devotee, because we are preaching. So when you're preaching, why not preach to the person who is not a devotee? And like your wife is not a devotee, your husband not a devotee, preach to them very nicely. Huh? Influence them not by instruction, by your character. When you chant your holy name 16 rounds a day, some or other your character will be very attractive. Some or other a stone-hearted person sees you, they'll start to melt. They don't even need to talk to you. Like just now we saw, right? Just by looking at just by looking, just even a moment, a person can get liberated. You know, the devotees. We read just now. So similarly, we also must do that. So we also must do that. Okay. So we should make our spouse, our children to become a devotee, not by instruction, because the children, your wife, your husband knows you very well. You cannot give them instruction, but by your influence. And how you can influence them? By your sadhana. Chant your 16 rounds daily, and you start to see how are they going to get attracted to you. How are they going to take up? No, when I got married, my wife was not a devotee. And I didn't even stop her from taking non-vegetarian. I said, go ahead, but make sure at home don't cook. Then after that, I told her, well, you are doing all these things. You're eating all this nonsense. You know, we come back. What did you eat? Nothing. Yeah, you had some carcass, like eat some dead body, right? So, why are you talking like that? No, just asking. Your stomach is a graveyard, you know. I didn't shout at it. I just jokingly, your stomach became a graveyard. Oh my God. You know what sin the chicken did to be eaten, to be chewed by in your mouth and to get digested in your stomach. Disgusting. And she said, hey, don't talk about it. I said, okay. Then after that, I said, my children must be vegetarian. Like that, we went on. Then I heard from a devotee, like, I think, what do you call? I don't know whether it's Pran Govinda Prabhu from America or another devotee. I can't recall. Every day, take a flower, offer to Prabhupada and pray. My dear Prabhupada, please make my wife a devotee. Please convince my husband to become a devotee. When you start to do that, eventually there'll be change of heart, right? After more than 10 years of prayer, meditation, and all these things, eventually my wife became a devotee and she got initiated. My mother became a devotee and she got initiated. My mother was an atheist. She's under DMK, right? That South Indian crazy party. She heard that the DMK and Priyar thought, because she's a Tamil author. But eventually she became a devotee. She also taken initiation. So like that, even my elder girl became. So what I'm saying, we can stay. But if we don't take that effort, all right? Okay, now, when you come to the topic. So if the wife is discharged in devotional service, then it's called, then if wife is in the, if the wife is helpful in the discharge of devotional service, then the fault of three Sanga does not arise, all right? Three Sanga does not arise. But if the wife is impediment to the discharge of devotional service, if your wife is going to become a big barrier, then one should carefully give up association. Okay, one should carefully give up association. Now, like this, oh, my wife is not a devotee, so should I just put out divorce? That is irresponsible. You should only do this if you become very advanced and your wife still not doing it. Okay, but we are all learning. We are all in a learning stage. Don't take the statement wrongly. There's so many neophytes who will take the statement wrongly. Oh, like there's one particular person. Yeah, I don't want to mention name. He says, my wife and my children are just like a whirlpool. You know, whirlpool. You know whirlpool? There's a message from Kulashekara Alvar. They say, you know, my wife and children are whirlpool. I got in and the thing pulled me down. I cannot come out of it. He started to quote that. You know, and I got angry when I heard that. I said, first of all, you have to be like Lord Ram, or you have to have a proper standard. You yourself, 6:30 devotee, and you are talking about your wife and your children. Is a fallen devotee. Are you so elevated? Look at yourself. Look at yourself in the mirror. Are you really good? You are not. So take the responsibility. Work with your wife. Work with your children and become a pure devotee of the Lord. Don't try to criticize. You yourself have so much of fault. Of course, is one of my mentee, right? And also quite related to me. And I took full, what do you call? Control. And I just told him. I didn't tell him off, but I told him very clearly. If you are very elevated like Ramanuja, if you are really elevated like Prabhupada, then we talk what he says, right? You yourself 6:30. You yourself still childish. You yourself have so much of desire. You yourself want to do this, do that. And you are trying to talk that your wife and children say, what are you talking? You know, you are bogus. You are totally bogus. All right. So now we are talking about family unit, a unit of family that all trying to become a devotee. Respect your wife. Respect your wife. There's no harm respecting your wife. Because when a woman becomes a devotee, the whole family and entire generation will become a devotee. So that is what my spiritual master used to say. His Holiness Jayapataka Swami. If a woman becomes a devotee, the whole family and entire parampara will become a devotee. But when a man becomes a devotee, he keep it to himself. Right? So try to work on that. Right? Pray to Prabhupada. Don't try to put rules and regulation. Right? Because somehow or other they are associating with you. There is some kind of purification will be happening on them. Right? So just like now the situation is just like this. When you are flying in a plane, so there's a turbulence, there's a very low oxygen supply, and the oxygen must drop. So what the stewardess will tell you, first when the oxygen must drop, you put the oxygen mask on yourself first. Then you put on others. Yes or not? Okay, I believe you all have experience flying. So you take the mask and put, that means you save yourself, then you save others. So similarly, when you are all, or some or other you become a practicing devotee, you should cultivate slowly, gradually, right? Chant Hare Krishna in front of them. Chant your holy name. And just insist of taking prasadam. Right? Bring prasadam to them. Like one of the height of the thing, once what happened in my experience, I wanted to do some devotional service, I think chanting also. I got some task to do. And suddenly my wife wanted to go somewhere. I can't recall whether it's shopping. Is it shopping or theater? No, because we don't go to theater. It's shopping or something for some reason. I went there and I pleased her. I said, okay, since you want to go, let's go. We went. We went. At the same time, I showed my very displeased face. Right? I didn't show the face to her. Okay, nice. Okay, all right. And she understand. Then after that, she came and apologized to me. She said, I know you're so excited with your service and you want to do something, and I pulled you here, right? But we have to get it done. I said, no, I'm fine. No, I know you're not happy. I said, yeah, because I tell you honestly, Bhakti gives me so much excitement, you know. I also don't know why. I don't know what transformation happening. Then she will start to realize, somehow or other, your loving conversation can convince a person to become a devotee. If you are devotee, means you love Krishna. When you love Krishna, you love all the creation of Krishna. That's why we want to avoid taking meat. Why we want to avoid it? Because it's, first of all, it's nasty. It's very cruel. But because you feel that animal also has right to live. Huh? How about your wife? How about your husband? They also show that compassion. Right? No need to be like, overly rule them. Overly rule them. Just chant Hare Krishna. Some other day they come serve you. And sometimes they, until, a lot of things, I know, I don't want to elaborate further, that you should know. But family relationship is very important. Don't screw it up. Right? No matter what, the family has to be there. Because to practice devotional service as a family, it is because most of you, I mean, all of us are grastas, right? Every one of us are married grastas. Right? But sometimes we're talking about those who are young couple or those who are still in relationship with a wife or husband. You should treasure it. But those who are old, of course, time to give up and move on to next level, right? So anyway, this is not my opinion. I'm reading it from Bhaktiyaloka. So we should consider the behavior of the great Vaishnava Acharya. So sometimes we should consider the behavior of great Vaishnava Acharya like Srimad Ramanuja. Okay, the connection when there's no marital relationship and one converses with a woman with evil intention, then this is Sanga. That is sinful and detrimental to devotional service. All right. So when there's no marital relationship and to converse them with this close approach, I mean, this thing is called, it will have with evil intention. That means when you don't have marital this thing, but you closely converse with the woman with evil intention, right? Sometimes, all right. What they call the linta darada, what they call that, the wolf in a something in a sheep, in the sheep skin. Talk to them nicely. You know, don't worry, we'll be okay. You know, sometimes when the girl come and say, you know, I'm having a tough time with my husband, it's okay. You know, all these things are, what is your intention? To capture the girl. All these things are considered Sanga. This is sinful and detrimental to devotional service. We have to be very careful. Of course, we are all past 40s, 50s. I think it's not an issue for us. But we have some young people here who are. We have Bunis, Kesavan, all young boys. So you all have to be very careful. Be very careful. Don't create this thing, all right? Detrimental to devotional service. So considering these points, the practicing devotee should always very carefully give up the association of women and the person fond of women. As stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 31, Text 35. Na tatasya bhavin moho, bandhas chanya prasangata, yoshik sanga yata pumsho, yata tat sangi sangata. The infatuation, okay, that's what I was thinking. Infatuation and bondage which accrue to a man from attachment to any other object, it is not complete. It's not complete as a resulting from the attachment to a woman or to the fellowship of men who are fond of women. For a householder devotee, touching and speaking to his wife, as above mentioned, in the manner is not detrimental. It's not detrimental to devotional service. See, when a husband touches the wife or the wife touches the husband, it doesn't become a stumbling block in your devotional service. But for renunciate, those who have taken renunciation, sannyas or brahmachari, they cannot be any type of talking or touching women. All right. One of the brahmachari rules, when a person brahmachari rules, that means when a brahmachari, okay, when they wear saffron, they should not even sit closely to the mother and talk to her. Can you imagine? How about any other woman? The brahmachari rules are very strict. if a brahmachari, they cannot even sit near the mother and talk to her. You cannot even, shouldn't have any bodily, like no shoulder contact and all these things. No. Only place they can touch is the feet of the mother. Other than that, nothing else. Right? And now for sannyasi, even that is not allowed. Sannyasi means in the Swamijis, Guru Maharaj. They become a sannyas. They have a danda, right? That also is not allowed. Otherwise, his practice of devotional service will be completely spoiled. Associating with such deviated person, okay, then Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying, associating with such a deviated person, right, should be totally rejected. Will be totally rejected. So we have to be very careful. All right. So we stop here. So the next will be devoid devotees. Devote devotees. One should give up. One, okay, it's here. Okay. So, yeah, already marked. So now, so we end the session here. It's already 11:55. Sorry, 10:55. So let's open for Q&A. Do you have any questions? Any comment? First of all, do you understand? Do you get this idea? Do you understand about Jana Sanga so far? Any questions? Hare Krishna. What happened? Am I audible? So we have to be very careful. Okay. First, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is talking about the overall picture. All right, overall picture that Mayavadi, then sense enjoyer, and the one associated with sense enjoyer, 3 types of person. Then it come down, it's scrutinizing, it's making it into a funnel. All right, you are coming near. Now it's talking about associating with women or the opposite sex. Not only for the women, even for women to associate with men, the opposite sex. We have to avoid husband and wife. It's okay. Other than husband and wife, it is not advisable. It's to be totally rejected. It is not allowed. All right, I should use the word not allowed. So when a person has come into the level of renunciate, that means have taken a brahmachari or a sannyasi, because we have 4 ashram: brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyasi. So the first one is brahmachari, and the last one is sannyasi. So these 2 types of people should totally avoid associating with women. All right, of course, in the public and everything is different, but not in isolation or not interesting. All right, say like for instance, sometimes if you need to advise a woman, okay, if you need that, when Mataji comes and says, yes, she's having a problem, I want to talk to you personally, right? It's advisable that you have your servant with you, or if something that she really needs to talk to you very personally, we think it's better to do it in a crowded place like the park, not in an isolated place. Everything is always is dangerous, right? So that's the thing. So we have understood, even in our material life also, when a person becomes addicted to women, when the person is found to have a womanizer, if they catch as a womanizer, or betraying the wife, it itself is so disgusting and disgracing. Right? The same thing is in spiritual life, right? So sometimes people out there, the womanizers and all these people, they're still very clever. They think whatever they do, people don't know. I mean, they can escape. But of course, Krishna knows, the God knows everything, the karma, everything knows. But what we are doing here is, even in devotional service, you can be very tactful by not showing off and not getting caught. But what we worry here is, the ultimate worry is detrimental to devotional service. We have got this biggest boon, a diamond, a rare fortune, which is more fortune than anything else. You can't exchange the feelings of devotional service, bhakti. You can't replace it with anything else in this world. You got this rare opportunity. And that also we understood after many births of pious activities. See how Bhaktivinoda Thakur is bringing. Right? Sometimes when you don't talk about that, you say, oh, look at this, it doesn't matter. I mean, what's the big deal? No? But now you should understand, after so many years of pious activity, so many births, some or other you're here to get to know and you start to associate with devotees. All right. This is very, very rare opportunity. And just because of a little moment of excitement, a little attraction, also can call this as a fatal attraction. Once this fatal attraction is there, gone. Right? From the batch, you'll be thrown right back. So you have to start all over again. Imagine. Huh? So imagine suddenly you go back and say, now you have to start from standard 1 again. We don't even want to study, just give it up. Because it's not easy. We came all the way far. And say, no, start again. How do you feel? That day I was watching one flow, what chef or something, greatest chef. Suddenly the thing popped up and I just watched. She will prepare everything from the scratch. Everything done. And he just went there, he said, no, start again. It took her a few days to prepare. And she had to start all over again. And she became so frustrated, took the apron, threw at his face and just walked off. So we have came a long path and we have ended up here in this bhakti. And through that bhakti, we are fortunate that we have studied this nectar of instruction. Then we are intensifying the nectar of instruction by studying the Bhaktiyaloka. So once we complete Bhaktiyaloka, then we go into nectar of devotion. Bhakti Rasa Amrita Sindhu. Bhakti, which is so much of nectarian rasa, which is Amrita, which is honey, and Sindhu, and it's deep as ocean. Can you imagine? Now we're going to dive into an ocean of honey. Any part of the ocean you take and put in your mouth is so sweet. We're going to study that. In order to get the preparation, let's follow the instruction. If you think you can't follow the instruction, at least understand the instruction. Eventually, one day in your life, you could able to follow that. All right. So with that, if there's no question, we end the session here. Last question. If any takeaway, please put it in the group. Or another favor, you can also go to the YouTube channel and put it in the comment section. Because another thing came, how come no one is commenting your YouTube? I said, how you like that also got right? So put a comment there or whatever, right? So with that, thank you so much. Whatever I've said, please take me again. Let me tell you, whatever I've said, whatever I've shared, it is what I've heard from all previous acharyas. Like and some of you are studying the book of Bhaktiyaloka by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And of course, some sharing is from my own personal experience, right? So till then, we meet again tomorrow, Wednesday, 18th February. 19th February, tomorrow we meet again to continue under Jana Sanga. And those who are in Ipoh, like K7, please do come for tonight's, what they call, what is that? Namahat Center, Tuesday program. We are starting at 8:15 p.m. to 10 o'clock. Okay. So till then, have a beautiful day. Panchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Bevacha, Paditanam, Pavinibhyo, Vaishnavebhayo, Namo Namah. Hare Krishna. Have a nice day.
Thank you,
So,
Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Gauranga.
welcome. Hare